Richard Merritt, who was convicted by a jury of brutally killing his own mother, has been denied a second chance to argue his innocence.
Once a prominent local attorney, Merritt told a DeKalb County judge last year that his trial attorney did such a terrible job, he should get a new trial. Well, the Fox 5 I team has been covering this case for 7 years. Reporter Johnny Edwards was in court for Merritt's arguments in November and now has the judge's answer. Johnny?
Well, Judge Courtney Johnson called the guilty verdict sound, saying one of the witnesses Merritt wanted his lawyer to call to the stand probably only would have hurt him worse. That's convicted killer Richard Merritt taking the stand in a DeKalb County courtroom in November to lay out all the ways he claims his own trial attorney failed him.
He just kind of looked at me blankly.
It was Merritt's long-shot attempt to get out of a life prison sentence for the gruesome stabbing and beating death of his mother in 2019, arguing ineffective counsel, asking for a new trial.
This is the second cartoon.
With much of his argument centered around, of all things, cartoons.
I thought it was an important piece of evidence, and I told him we have to get this in, and basically he did nothing.
DeKalb Superior Court Judge Courtney Johnson, who presided over his trial, not buying it, saying in a ruling issued last week, Richard Merritt is not entitled to a new trial.
We would rather he be in jail.
In 2019, Merritt pled guilty in Cobb County to stealing more than $450,000 from his own clients by settling personal injury lawsuits and keeping the settlement checks for himself. On the day he was set to report to prison, his mother, Shirley Merritt, was cooking him a last spaghetti meal. Authorities say Merritt brutally stabbed her to death with a kitchen knife and beat her with a dumbbell. He later claimed that 2 men with pistols showed up and killed his mother right in front of him. At the time, with more than a dozen clients ripped off, a lot of people had it out for him. But Merritt never uttered a word of this story to authorities until his trial. Instead, he took his mother's car, cut off his ankle monitor, and ran. With Merritt found 8 months later in Nashville, going by a fake name.
A bunch of ducks, Donald Ducks and Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
So where do these come in? They go back to the Cobb County case and all those angry, ripped-off clients, and Merritt's claim that the real killers are still out there. The cartoons anonymously delivered to Merritt's mother, ex-wife, and his defense attorney in that case, David Willingham.
There's concern that we were being followed or the house was being watched.
Merritt argued that his attorney in the murder trial, Daryl Queen, should have put Willingham on the witness stand to talk about how a cartoon had frightened his mother.
In fact, I do suspect that they were authored by Mr. Merritt.
But Willingham told the court in November what he really thought.
What made more sense was that someone who was a narcissistic sociopath that was calculating enough to steal from all these people, his own clients, and then to murder his own mother, it made more sense that he would be planting little seeds that would grow into a defense later.
In light of that, Judge Johnson said that Merritt's lawyer's decision not to call that other attorney to the stand was reasonable. Merritt had also argued that his attorney should have put his son Jack on the stand to talk about his dad's good character and threats the family was receiving. But the judge ruled Jack's testimony wouldn't have changed the outcome.